Now, I want to jump in, though, right now to a guy that I am a huge fan of. Always enjoy talking to him, always enjoy seeing him. We've talked a lot about Arkansas. He is the Razorbacks head football coach, Brett Bielema. Coach, always good talking to you, sir. How do you assess the spring at this point, now that it's come and gone?
You know what, Dari? We got through 15 practices, first off, injury-free. We were able to go through that, which is huge. But I think what really came out of the spring is some of our newer players. You know, we lost 11 guys this past weekend to the draft and free agency, so we have a lot of really good players that left us. But those guys stepping into those roles, a guy like Martrell Spade, who led the SEC in tackles, he's now with the Washington Redskins. But Brooks Ellis, I think, could give us an equal opportunity to maybe make as many plays, if not a little bit more. Guys like JaMychal Winston, you know, Trey Flowers is a really good player who left us, but JaMychal had a nice spring stepping into that role of defensive end, and some other guys as well. So that was what the fun part was as a coach for me.
Brett, aside from the defensive departures there, what's the biggest question that you feel you still need to get answered once fall practices begin?
You know, I think O-line depth, we have a really good front five that I feel strong about, but as we all know, the world of football, there's injuries, there's the unforeseen and things like that. So O-line depth and linebacker depth are probably my biggest two concerns. Really got to have either some of the younger players coming into the program or some other players that are on the verge of maybe coming through for us, have a great summer and get ready for a great fall camp.
You look at running backs in this conference, that seems to be the position of strength when you look at Nick Chubb and Leonard Fournette, Derrick Henry at Alabama, and then your two horses, Jonathan Williams and Alex Collins. There's been a lot said and a lot of great stories about how the two of them are such great teammates and friends, and they love sharing the load. How do you as a head coach go about deciding who's playing when?
You know, I think it's a way to kind of work itself out. Competition brings the both out of one of them, you know, out of each other. So we actually have a third guy emerge during the spring, Cody Walker, who I think could be a 1,000-yard rusher as well. You know, I think in our path, you got to make sure you recruit the right type of kid. So you got to have a kid that, you know, doesn't want the I, me. You understand it's a we approach at Arkansas, and that starts it. But then also, you know, just telling them and sharing with them, hey, you don't want to be the guy that's in there for a run that could go to the house and you get dragged down at 20 because you're tired. They should let their buddy go in there when he knows he's at his freshest, and it's a rotation that's shown to work over time.
How do you describe what you're hearing, reading in the state from fans, from whoever, about the expectations that are now on your shoulders?
They're definitely changed. That's been a nice thing. I always say high expectations are better than low expectations. Sounds like a good country song, but that's true. It really shows the progress we've made, and the great thing is we're, you know, a 7-6 team that's getting a little bit of pub that I think could make a dramatic increase, not just in our conference, but also nationally. You know, we're in a league that if you win in this league and win the way that we want to win, you're right in the middle of the national title hunt. And I'm not saying we're there yet, but I know we're swinging and knocking at the door. And it's fun to see that hard work does pay off. If you do things right in the right way, good things will happen to you. And hopefully that's what we're going to see in 2015.
Coach, I know you've always, one of the things you've talked about since the day you walked into Fayetteville is that your players are buying in. You deliver a message, they take it, they run with it. But I can imagine still, in the midst of a 9-game losing streak in year number 1, or a tough start in year number 2 before you turn things around, you had to have seen some difference in the locker room and the way they carry themselves. What do you see from this team now, or when you left them in the spring, compared to what you saw when it was difficult in terms of to each individual player?
You know what, Dar, we were getting ready for our biggest Saturday scrimmage in week 4 of the spring. And I'd watched the Tuesday and Thursday practice where I was just blown away when I was watching the film afterwards and after the practice, and how they practiced, how they looked, the coachability that they had, the ability that they lined up and did things right. And then I archived our films from 2 springs ago when we first got here, and I've showed 5 plays of inside drill, it works on the run game, and 5 plays of Skelly, which works on the throwing game. And then I coupled it with 5 plays from Tuesday and Thursday's practices. And it was a lot of the same players doing things incredibly different, look different, act different, and obviously the results were different. And it showed our players how much growth they've had. The players coming in, they know they got to buy in right away, otherwise they're going to be left behind. it's just a real fun time to be a part of the culture.
All right, Brett, forget football for a minute here. Summer's coming. I know you never really have a lot of downtime, but maybe you'll get a little bit here. What's the biggest thing on your to-do list this summer?
Well, my wife has decided to go through a reconstruction project in my home, our home, that required us moving out of our house for 2 months, and so we're in a little remodeling phase here in the Bielema household. So that's my daily to-do list, to make sure that I'm on top of things there. I'm really just in a spectator mode, to be quite honest. But we'll get through that, and you know what's neat is they allow us by NCAA rules to have some Hogganese all summer. So we'll have 2 classes a week on the Hogganese, and get a chance to be around our guys and team build. So that's going to be a huge part of it.
I love the Hogganese. Now, tell me if you're like me in this. I come home. I was at the NFL draft in Chicago, Brett. I come home, and she goes, "You're not going to believe what I did to our bedroom." And I walk up there, and she's always taken pride in not making it too, as she says, too girly. And right. So, but she moved these dressers from one room to another, and our room suddenly looks, I don't know, 70% more girly than it did before. But I don't care. I'm like, if you're happy, I don't care. It's a bedroom to me, and it's got a bed, and you know what? Hey, I'm fine with that. Is that your situation too with your Jen? Because that's how it is with mine.
I know. I didn't coin the phrase, but happy wife, happy life means a lot to all of us. So I really don't care. You know, I love my bedroom to you know, have a nice shower, good water pressure, and have a little bit of access to the hot tub, and then really for the kitchen, I love to cook and relax. So if we can do that, and I can do that with success, I don't have any problems with what it looks like.
That's it. I'm with you. Brett Bielema, good talking to you as always, Coach.
Thank you, Don. I appreciate it. Whoopeg. Have a good weekend.
All right, you too.